So we're going to do a little exercise together to help reconnect to the body experience, to the ventral vagal system, to move through hyperarousal or hypoarousal, and to move towards that sense of connection to self and connection to the other. And without going into too much of the theory, the vagus nerve, which is the 10th cranial nerve, goes from the back of the brain stem down through the body, through the diaphragm, into our subdiaphragmatic organs, but also goes to our lungs and our heart. And this nerve is the largest nerve in the body. And what many people, even therapists or even medical doctors, don't know is that this nerve is 80% sensory, it's 80% afferent. So in other words, it's taking information from our guts and our viscera back up to the brain. And if we get stuck there, well, we're stuck there. And so this is an exercise that helps us to regulate and to when we're doing it together, to co-regulate. Oh, I left out that wonderful video of the daddy with the boo. Maybe if I can figure out where it is at the end, I'll get it. But maybe we'll have it for when you look at those PowerPoints. Yeah. Okay. So the idea is to take an easy full breath, and on the exhalation, make the sound VU as though it's coming from the gut. It is coming from the gut. So vibrate the VU sound in your gut and let the sound and the breath go all the way out. And then just allow the next breath to come in, filling belly and chest. And this is an exercise that you may enjoy to do anytime. It's also an exercise that's very useful when you're working with clients with early developmental trauma, because when they're able to get that connection physiologically together with you, then they've really made a big step of coming out of their trauma back into life, into vitality. So easy full breath. And on the exhalation, make the sound VU, so you're vibrating it in the belly. And by vibrating it in the belly, you're actually sending a message from the belly to the brain that says, all is good, mostly all is good. So let's do this together, okay? Easy full breath. I'll demonstrate it first. And then making the sound VU, letting the breath and the sound all the way out, waiting for the next breath to come in on its own, filling belly and chest, and then repeat. So I'll do that once or twice, and we can then do it together if you want. Don't feel pressured to do it if it doesn't feel right to you. And usually people feel settling, relaxation, but also and different sensations, warmth, but sometimes it can bring up some uncomfortable feelings. And if so, just to, again, feel your grounding, feel your feet, feel your hands. Know that you can always do the self-hug exercise, which I'm just demonstrating right now. So easy full breath. When I let the breath and the sound go all the way out. Then wait for the breath to come in, filling belly and chest, and repeat. So I invite you to do that together with me. And if you wish. So to start by taking easy full breath, vibrating the sound VU into the belly. And sometimes people ask, well, isn't that the same as Om? No, it's not. It's actually different. It really has to do with the viscera and VU and the other. The Om is more about from our heart, from our upper chest, and so forth. But anyhow, this is to connect with the belly with those VU sensations. So Those of you who wish, let's do it together. Full, easy breath. Let the breath and the sound go all the way out. And then allow the new breath to come in, filling belly and chest. And then again, repeat. And just what are you noticing? Sensations, feelings, images, inner images, thoughts, and just note them. Okay, good. And just note them. You might even write them down. Okay, whoops. Let's see if I'm going to go to share screen again. Hello. Now, one of the core things about somatic experiencing is that it works bottom up. Also top down, but primarily works bottom up. In other words, it works from our sensations and our feelings and our emotions, and then regulate those, and then connect them with our pictures, our images, and our thoughts. So again, SE is not just bottom up, but it works initially and continues to work towards therapeutic processing that differs from the more traditional, like cognitive behavior therapy. By the way, I'm a fan, really. I think cognitive therapy, and particularly cognitive processing therapy, is very valuable. But by itself, without the underlying sensations and feelings, I think it's limited. And one of the things about somatic experiencing is it's not just a therapy per se on its own, but it helps people do what they do, how they do, to do whatever they do better. And again, I think somatic experience holds a kind of a unique role in that regard, that it's not a therapy, but it's how you do the therapy that you're doing. Yes, therapy is not what you do, but how you do what you do. One of the keys in working with trauma, especially developmental trauma, is that you titrate. You don't expose the person to a trauma over and over, but more to the sensations that help us have a way of organizing and working with the trauma in the here and now. When people first start to begin to work, let me stop sharing again. They will experience some anxiety. They may experience some anxiety, some contraction. And so I use this to demonstrate what happens when you start touching first into traumatic sensations, is you feel a contraction. And we often avoid the contraction because it feels scary. It feels like a contraction. But when we are able to be guided, we feel a contraction, but every contraction is followed by an expansion. And every expansion is followed by another contraction and another expansion and another contraction and another expansion. I call that pendulation. And it means that no matter what you're experiencing, if you move into it in a safe way, that you will feel, yes, you may feel worse for a moment, but then you'll feel better. And you will then notice that there is a intrinsic rhythm, a life rhythm of contraction and expansion. Then the idea of contraction, because trauma is a very powerful energetic experience. And so we don't want to open too abruptly, too quickly to the trauma all at once, because we can be overwhelmed. In other words, we can even be re-traumatized. So the idea is to touch into these difficult sensations one small amount at a time and let the energy come to equilibrium, like you saw with the hyperarousal, hypoarousal. and then again once more. So we titrate. Little is more. And each time we release a little of that energy and allow it to come to equilibrium, to come to adaptive self-regulation, and again and again. So again, never all at once, because that can be overwhelming. And to the nervous system, overwhelm feels basically the same as the trauma itself. So again, the idea is not to bring up the trauma, but to be able to touch into the traumatic energies, the traumatic sensations. And again, this can be particularly trying, particularly difficult when people have had a lot of early developmental trauma, because almost everything feels overwhelming. So again, the key in titration, one small amount at a time. CYBAM is how we is a map of our experience. So sensations are bodily sensations, what are sometimes called interoceptive sensations. Images are the images that we may have been seeing, but now that are incorporated in our mind, in our brain. B are behaviors, going from conscious behaviors to small postural changes, are things that our body does and shifts. And then affects are feelings, and that includes emotions, the categorical emotions of Darwin: anger, fear, joy, surprise, disgust, but also what I call felt sense feelings. So when you walk outside, for example, and you see a blade of grass with dew on the blade of grass, you're moved by that, you're touched by that. It's not an emotion, it's an inner feeling, a felt sense feeling. And then there are meanings that we attach to our experience. And when we've been traumatized, those meanings become very negative. So again, when we work from sensations towards meanings, we are able to form new meanings in our lives. And and I talk about those specifically in the book, in an unspoken voice, about that system of how do we map our inner experience.